largest pro league in the world. Some great opportunities for team ownership are available, and the cost may surprise you. If you've ever thought about team ownership in a pro league, give us the opportunity to help make it a reality. Reach out to us for more info. For USA teams at www.abaliveaction.com. In Australia, go to www.abaleagueaustralia.com.
Come explore the No Strings Attached e-News online magazine. Our global array of authors inspire, delight, and educate with practical and entertaining articles. And with Focus On, we help producers of film, web series, and other video content attract a wider audience. Plus, your project can stream on Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, and more with our media partners E360 TV and NETV. No Strings Attached e-News, focusing on human interest. Advertising available, nsaen.com.
Hi guys, CJ here. We currently have a few positions available for relationship managers. If you would like the opportunity to work in sports marketing, this could be it. The ABA is the largest pro league in the world and partnered with the AAU, representing over 700,000 athletes around the world. Building business relationships and helping bring new audiences to every business we're working with is the goal. We're not limited to one state or region. Businesses partnering with sports is always a win-win for the community. Sound interesting? Then drop us an email and give more information at jobs@aba1on1.club, and we'll get back to you right away.
You're listening to ABA One-on-One Podcast.
Hey guys, it's time for a new episode of ABA One-on-One.
Open up, yeah. Open up now. Open up. Open up, yeah. Open up. Open up now. I'll give a damn dog, give him a bone. Give a damn dog a bone. I'll give a damn dog.
Back to another ABA One-on-One. We have basketball royalty in the house once again. We have legend ABA and NBA player Rick Barry in the house. Rick, welcome to the show. Brian and Rick, my co-hosts are with me as well. But Rick Barry, welcome to ABA One-on-One.
Well, thank you very much. But I said one-on-one. It's 3-on-1. You guys got 3-on-1, so 3-on-1. So I don't know.
We cheat.
I'm outgunned here.
We cheat. We cheat.
No, but listen, let me tell you people down there. Hey, I love your country down there. Actually, my wife and I went there. I was there on my honeymoon. We went there. We were in both Melbourne and also in Sydney, and we went down actually to the North Island of New Zealand and went out to Ayers Rock and went out to Alice Springs and went up to the Barrier Reef. It was awesome. We had a great trip and had some people we were introduced to. We actually were over at somebody's house on our honeymoon. I still remember we were over there watching the Super Bowl of Australia, right? When they play rugby.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we were watching that on TV. Final. That was cool. What I love more than anything else, I love Aussie football because I love it when the guy in the white suit with the hat comes out and gives that little motion when they kick it through the goalpost.
Yeah. That's AFL. That cracks me up too. I love it. Oh.
Hey, I'll tell you one other thing. Right. My wife ran USA Basketball for women for 12 years. And so I was actually down there with her on the trip when the women were playing games and all. But I remember, I think it was Olympics, the Australian women with the suits, with the outfits they had for their basketball uniforms. That
the body suits,
the skin tight body suits. That was unbelievable.
Yes. I think that was a strategy, Rick, to kind of keep people looking.
Well, it definitely did that.
It worked. Oh, yeah. It worked. Hey, Rick. Well, look, man. Oh, go ahead, big brother.
I was just going to mention, talking about the ABA, back in the early 70s, I don't think it was around 71, I was home from college, and the Virginia Squires and the Kentucky Colonels were playing a game in Roanoke, Virginia, where I'm originally from. And I told y'all that story Julius Urban. That was his first ever professional game. And I also saw Rick Barry play a couple times when I think you was with Washington.
I was at Washington Caps originally, and then with the Nets. Yeah.
So you started ABA first, then went NBA, or did you come?
No.
The other way.
I was in the NBA for my first 2 years, and then I
That's
sat
what I
out a
thought.
year, and it was the first name player to jump, and then I went and then played for the Oakland Oaks, and then unfortunately I did that, and I wound up getting hurt, and I didn't make it to I didn't get to play in the finals, which was very disappointing to me. But we still wound up winning. I had Doug Moe and Larry Brown were two of the outstanding teammates of mine that won the championship there, and that second year of the ABA.
Wow.
Who was your coach, Rick?
Our coach back for then was Alex Hannum.
No, I mean for the okay. Not I was thinking about the
ABA was Alex Hannum.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow.
Alex Hannum came over after he left the Warriors when I played for him as a rookie. Then I had Bill Sharman, but Alex had left. But then Alex was brought on as the coach. I thought it was going to be my father-in-law, but he was the general manager, Bruce Hale, and Alex was the coach.
Wow, awesome.
And then Al Adams was with the Warriors, right, Rick?
Yeah, Al was actually my roommate and teammate when I was a rookie and came into the league playing for the then San Francisco Warriors. In fact, we just had a thing for Al, a virtual happy birthday celebration for him last week or so, whatever it was. And I was joking. I've been at a couple of functions, and I tell everybody, I says, Al Addles, I said, I give Al Addles tremendous credit for helping me become the professional player that I was, because as a rookie, I had to room with him. And back then, the veterans, of course, got to watch whatever TV shows they wanted. If they liked the room hot, the room was hot. If they liked it cold, it was cold. Whatever the hell he wanted, I had to go along with it. And then I walked in one day and smelled one of the most vile smells I've ever smelled in my life. It smelled worse than rotten eggs. I said, "Oh my God, Al, what the hell is that?" And he said, "I'm shaving." I said, "Shaving? What are you shaving?" So when black people, couldn't shave with razors because he gets the bumps, they said. And so we had to put this magic shave on it with the worst smelling stuff ever. So I told Al, I said, "You know what?" I said to myself, I said, "Okay, wait a second. I got to, back then you roomed together with somebody to save some money. So I said, "You know what? I'm going to play my butt off because I'm going to go in and I'm going to negotiate on my next contract a single room." And so I gave Al credit for getting me to do that.
Hey, now I do want to ask this because this is my main question. And I'm gonna let the boys have it from there. I might have one more for you later, but what made you patent that free throw shot of yours?
My father was a semi-pro player and coach. And back in those days, people shot two hands overhand, two hands underhand. And he shot underhanded free throws. And he just said, "Son, I think you can shoot a higher percentage if you make the switch." And I was, wasn't a really bad free throw shooter. I mean, it's like mid-70s.
Yeah.
And so he was just relentless about it. And so I finally one summer did it before I started my season. I really, honestly and truly, I should look it up one day to find out the answer to it for sure. It was either before my junior or senior year in high school. And I did it first and foremost to get him off my back. He was driving me nuts about this, but I didn't just do it and go through the motions. I said, "Okay, Dad, show me." So I went out and I really paid attention. I really worked at it, gave a sincere effort. And as I was doing it, I said, "Wow, this is not bad. This is pretty good." And so I worked really hard that summer and I made the switch. And for the first time in my career, I shot 80% or better. And then I just kept getting better and better and better.
Wow.
What you're supposed to do in life. I mean, I never was satisfied with what I did. I was always trying to get better. And I wish I had been smart enough to make the refinement that I made later in my career. But at the end of my career, for my last 6 seasons, I had made an adjustment and took my wrist out of the shot. And I actually shot my last 6 years. I shot a higher percentage than anybody's ever had as far as a career goes. I shot over 92%. My last 2 years, I shot over 94% from the free throw.
Wow.
And it's the only part of the game that you can be selfish and help your team.
Yeah, true. Wow, man.
Fantastic. Well,
I take great pride in that. And I brag about that, as I say, because you can only care about yourself and you're helping your team.
Yeah.
So it's the one area of the game and it's inexcusable to me. I mean, to me, if you can't shoot 80% from the free throw line, you're not a good free throw shooter. Think about it. It's the same size ball, same size basket, the same distance every single time. And no one is defending you to prevent you from doing it. So how in the world do you
Yeah,
live
no
with yourself
defense.
if you can't make 4 out of every 5 shots?
Hey,
true.
Rick, ask Shaq and Will Chamberlain and some other guys about that.
Well,
Dwight Howard.
Shaq told me he said, Rick, I'm a hip hop kind of guy and it would ruin my image. I wanted to say to him, but he was too damn big. I said, what do you think your image is now? You're a joke. But I didn't want to say that because I figured he'd beat me up. And Wilt actually did switch to underhanded the year.
Yep, I remember that.
50 points a game was the only season that he ever did it. Had it not been for underhanded free throws, he would never have averaged 50 points a game.
Man. Awesome.
50 points a game.
Wow.
Yeah, that's insane. That's just so. And people
And probably
start
30
talking,
rebounds.
People start. Well, his career average for rebounds is 22.5. So people keep talking about, well, this guy here, comparing him, and this guy's the best. Hey, there was nobody better than Wilt Chamberlain when it came to offense. And I mean, come on, and he blocked shots and he rebounded and he led the league in assists one year when he had great players with him. I mean, come on. I mean, it's Wilt Chamberlain, and then you can have a discussion about who you think is second. And not taking anything away from Bill Russell.
There you go.
Bill Russell had the
You
greatest
thinking like
impact.
me, Rick?
Yeah, well, Bill Russell had the greatest impact on any player to help him win championships, but he wasn't a better basketball player than Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, if you just look at all the skills necessary to play the position of center, no one has done or will ever do what Wilt Chamberlain did, offensively especially.
And he played a year with the Globetrotters.
Yeah, he did when he first came out from Kansas.
Yeah, because he couldn't go to the NBA.
Right.
Hey, Brian, you need to have Rick on a couple of your conversations, man, about the greatest of all players.
Well, I've had those conversations.
Okay, let me cut you
about
off
the greatest
there.
of all time.
Stop with that because you can't do that. I mean, you guys are the same as everybody else. You're in Australia. I guess it's that way around the world. Everybody.
I always argue.
Hold on. Everybody talks about it. Let me get this point across and you'll understand where I'm coming from. You can never, ever in any team sport pick the greatest player. You have to go by position because every position requires different skills. There's no such thing as the greatest basketball player. You can have the greatest point guard, the greatest 2, the greatest 3, the greatest 4, the greatest 5. You can't pick one player that's the best ever. It has to be by position.
You're preaching to the choir, brother. This is what we always end up getting in arguments with other people about.
I agree with you.
Well, there is no argument. There is no argument because it's the only thing. There's no argument.
Yeah.
All right, here, that greatest player, guys, the GOAT thing is that here's my take on that. Every era, we're going back to Bob Pettit, we're going back in the 450s, we go to the 60s, the 70s, all the way up. Each era has a GOAT. And, that's why I'm saying there's no one GOAT all time. Each era.
Thank you.
Each era had 5 GOATs, one in each position.
Yeah.
Exactly. Brian, what were you going to say?
You can have a discussion.
One in each position.
You can have a discussion for those particular eras about who's the best 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 during that era, and that's a valid discussion to have. But it's only about who's the best at each position.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree 100%. I constantly, because we have a basketball page that we do here, and it's an open page, and you get all these guys. They come on, they talk about the GOAT, and it's like there is no GOAT.
Hey,
and
back when I played, the GOAT was the guy that sucked and played terrible.
I hear that. But that's the thing. It's like nowadays if you look at some of the statistical aspects of a player like Wilt Chamberlain and some of the things that he was capable of doing, but then not only him, you got other players like Julius Erving, you got players like yourself, you got players that have like Pistol Pete Maravich. You have players that have done so much for this game that you cannot narrow it down and say, oh, well, this guy is the greatest of all time, or that guy's the greatest of all time. Can't happen. So I agree with you 100%.
Thank you. Agreed.
The way I equate it, and it's easier to relate to it, is are you going to tell me that Willie Mays was better than Sandy Koufax? How do you compare a pitcher to a center fielder? And how do you compare a center fielder to a first baseman or a left fielder to a catcher? I mean, come on. I mean, can't do it.
Good man.
Yeah, true.
Good point. Talk a little bit about the early days of the ABA, Rick.
Well, the ABA was a joke.
Okay.
It was so bush league. It was so bush league. It was unbelievable. like they say, the guys went in the bubble to play this year. I said, hell, I know what it's like to play in the bubble with nobody watching you. Hell, I played a game in Texas, in Houston, Texas. There were more people sitting at the scorer's table and on the benches than there were in the stands.
Oh my God. Hey, that's what it's like when you're starting it up, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible. I mean, hell, I was at an all-star game and the owner and the coach of a team got in a freaking fight in the lobby of the hotel. It was
Wow.
insane, the stuff that went on in the ABA. It really was. It was crazy. And they had
some talent there, though.
Oh no, I had a lot of talent there. I mean, I got into a big discussion with Marv Albert when he was doing radio in New York and was the Knicks play-by-play guy. And he had me on the show because I was in the ABA at the time, and I jumped his ass big time. Excuse my language, but
oh, that's fine.
Because he was talking about there's no good players. I said, what are you talking about? I said, let me tell you something. There are a lot of guys here playing in the ABA who would be great players playing in the NBA, and it sure proved to be the case because when they finally had the merger and stuff, you look at how many guys that were on ABA teams became Hall of Fame basketball players.
Oh yeah, so true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. So true, man. You guys paved the way. You went out there. It was like the wild, wild west, and you were actually good players, and you made things happen.
There's a lot of great players. I mean, just a lot of really great players that people don't even know about. I mean, it's unfortunate that they Jimmy Jones was a great basketball player. I mean, I just go name a whole bunch of guys that were great players. In fact, some of the guys should be in the Hall of Fame, but the problem is that the Hall of Fame they had to do it. They had a special. They finally went and had a special committee to go ahead and choose some of the ABA players to make it into the Hall of Fame, and then they cut that off, which is unfortunate because there were still a number of guys there who I think deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and they're not in there now because they stopped that special committee. It's unfortunate. I mean, even tell you what a joke of some of that stuff is because it's so subjective. It took Artis Gilmore to have to go to the ABA committee. I said, you freaking kidding me? Artis Gilmore was a 2020 guy in college. He was an unbelievable player in the ABA, and he was a factor in the NBA. How in the hell did he not go 5 years after he retired into the Hall of Fame? I mean, it was like a joke. So many guys like that just never got the recognition they deserved.
Agreed.
Wow. See,
Rick,
that's interesting. That's very interesting.
We were talking about this on an earlier show, the ABA, what their impact they had on the NBA. I mean, everything from the 3-point shot to the shot clock and all that stuff.
Well, they didn't have anything to do with the shot clock, but they did have the situation as far as changing All-Star weekend to more of a big festivity type of situation. And then, of course, that whole thing has changed. I don't even call it All-Star anymore. It's just called an All-Star exhibition game. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, it's not even a game in there. We used to go out there and play our butts off because the winning team, I think, got like $3,000 and the losers $1,500 or something. And hell, $3,000 my rookie, that's 1/5 of my freaking salary. So those were competitive games and they were serious games. And they need to put asterisks next to all this stuff where these guys go out there. Nobody guards anybody. You hope that the game, I always would hope the game was close in the last quarter because then maybe they'd get serious about it. They tried to do it and made some changes, which helped. I think when they had the last one, last season, not this one, the season before. But it's still, to me, I can't even watch it. It's just not any fun for me to watch.
Wow. Well, let's move up a little further here, because I got another couple of cool questions for you. One, we had Clifford Ray on, and we had Butch Beard, and Butch Beard could not understand how you and Clifford Ray became really tight friends. He even made a joke about it. Can you elaborate on that more?
Well, I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid. So I made a living off of pick and roll plays. And so Nate Thurman, Hall of Fame player, a dear friend of mine, and God rest his soul, no longer with us, was traded away, and Clifford came. And so I picked Clifford up at the airport when I found out when he was coming in, so that I can go ahead and get to meet him and establish a relationship. And we're like brothers. I mean, we fish together. We're extremely close. He's such a great guy. And, you know, and then when I saw what a great person he was, I mean, you know, it made it even better. I mean, I just wanted him to set screens for me. So I'd make sure I give him an easy dunk early in the game so he'd keep coming out and setting more screens for me. Well, it's not even setting screens because that's bad terminology too. I can get into that. You don't set screens in basketball. I hear Jeff Van Gundy, he didn't set a very good screen. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, coach, but there's no such thing as a player setting a screen. A player is a stationary object. It's the responsibility of his teammate to run his man into him, making him a screener. That's the way the game is played. And nobody talks about it. And there's more moving screen set. Why? Because players don't know how to set their men up and make it work. I mean, it's a joke. I charted a game against Chicago and Atlanta several years ago in a playoff game. There were 59 moving screens that were not called.
Wow.
As a player, you cannot move. But what happens? The coaches say, you got to set a good screen. Well, doesn't that imply that you're supposed to do something? I have to set a screen. You don't set anything. What you have to learn and understand is where do you come from and where do you place your body to be in the best position for your teammate to utilize you? That's what it is. The two-man game is all about. And nobody explains it properly. Nobody talks about it properly. And it drives me insane when I have to watch games and listen to this bullshit.
I love it.
No, fair enough. That's fair enough. Speaking of that, Rick, given your insight into the game and how long you've played it and as much as you've been around it, and you got 3 sons that
Five sons
did well.
I have
with
5
the game
sons
as well.
that played professional basketball.
Well, 5 sons.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Have you ever thought about coaching?
I coached in the minor leagues. They'd never give me a chance because they were all afraid of me because they know they wouldn't be able to tell me what the hell to do, that I'm going to do it the way I think it should be done. And, you know, and so they never would give me the opportunity to do that. I coached in the minor leagues, enjoyed the experience a lot, much more than I realized I would enjoy it. But I really enjoyed the teaching more than I enjoyed coaching in the game, even though I learned how to, you know, coaching games and realize matchups is the key element. You want to always try to make sure that you have an upper hand on the opposition by forcing them to have to make adjustments to you instead of you adjusting to them. But I just get dumbfounded by some of the stuff that I watch and the way the game is played by some of these teams, and the coaches keep getting rehired and recycled, and they fail here and then they go there because they got a good old boy buddy that hires them because they're friends. And I mean, I just don't understand it. I'm saying somebody gets fired because he didn't do a good job, and all of a sudden he gets rehired. What did they think? Did he had a brain transplant and all of a sudden learn how to coach?
Oh God.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That does happen a lot.
A lot.
And
A lot. It's like commonplace. I mean, it happens all the time. Just look at how.
It really does.
It's like some of these college coaches. Rick Pitino said when you hire an assistant coach from a losing team, you move him up when you fire the head coach. He said, well, what's the deal? The assistant coach had all the answers. He just wasn't telling the head coach.
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of funny. They move the assistant up.
Yeah.
And they're already losing.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario that goes on with that, you know, but it's, you know, I don't care how good a coach, like I say, there's 3 things to success in team sports. Okay. Very simple. And none of them have to do with the coach. Who do you draft? Who do you get in free agency? Who do you get in trades? It's all about the personnel, because I don't care. You can take anybody. You can take Red Auerbach and Phil Jackson and all these great coaches that have done stuff. If they don't have the right personnel, they're never going to win a championship. And then when you get those quality players who know how to play the game, who play unselfishly, who are willing to be a team and forget their individualism, then you hope you hire a coach that doesn't screw it up and uses the talent that you've put together as a general manager properly, because so many coaches have their systems and force players to play their system, and that system sucks for this guy's skill level, and that's why they don't succeed. What do you think? It's a miracle that some guys leave a team and all of a sudden become an all-star player? No, it's because he got to go someplace where the coach actually let him play and do the things he's capable of doing.
Man, you're telling it like it is. Kind of reminds me of when we had Bob Hill on. He was the same way. You know,
Bob
that's
Hill
pretty
got
cool.
screwed big time.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh
yeah. Yeah. And that's what we like to hear. Like we said, we like to hear real basketball. But man, that's amazing. 5 boys are playing ball. I mean,
Yeah, well, 5 boys with Division I college scholarships. All 5 have played professionally. My son Scooter should have been in the NBA. Bird and McHale said, Rick, your son should have made our team. He was better than our #1 draft pick. But unfortunately, back then, they only had 12-man rosters, and the Celtics had 13 no-cut contracts. And so he wound up going overseas. My son, he played until he was 40 years old. And he still plays for the Olympic Club in San Francisco. They have those club teams that go on around the country in some of the big cities, and he still plays there. Hell, he's 50-something years, early 50s. He still can dunk, and he still plays, and he's a hell of a player. And should have been in the NBA. And then my youngest son should be in the NBA, and unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet. I don't know why, but it's unfortunate. But it is what it is.
Wow, amazing, man, amazing.
Yeah, I saw him practice. I used to go to the University of Florida practices, Rick, when I live in Daytona Beach, which is only about 2 hours from Gainesville. So I went up and watched him practice.
Well, they never utilized him there either. He was the leading scorer on the team at one point, coming off the bench, and would never be put in the starting lineup. Was the SEC 6th man of the year, and was able to do what he did as the second leading scorer with hardly ever having any plays run for him, not being allowed to run the 2-man game, and made the most of what he did. But that's the kind of player. He's a team player. He's willing to sacrifice, do whatever's necessary. When the only chance he's ever really had to do anything, he got to play over in China, where he got screwed over again too. They went over there and said, well, we'll give you a little tryout. So I sent him over. He went over, and they really liked him, and so they put him on the team. What they didn't tell him was that it'd be month-to-month contract. Yeah, what they didn't tell him, they'd already assigned and committed to some other guy to come over, a point guard that he didn't know about, that was going to come over the next month. And so he played a month over there. He averaged 30 points, 60, 40, 90. 60 from twos, 40 from threes, 90 from the free throw line.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the only time he's had a chance to really have the ball. He's a two guard who never hardly ever got to play 2, and he also can handle the ball and actually bring it up the floor and play like a point guard, and has not gotten a chance to do that. It's such a waste of freaking talent. I just shake my head in astonishment sometimes.
But Rick, that's what a lot of us kind of say about the league, period. There's so many great, talented players that just don't get a break at all, and we've all seen it. I mean, I had a shot, Brian at least got to play a little bit, Rick's been around playing all over, it's like, you get this bubble because our talent pool is so rich in America with basketball that, it takes
not as rich as you think, actually. I mean, it's really, seriously, it isn't, because I don't know what these scouts look at. The problem with it is they get so hung up on athleticism. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 10 athletes. I'll take 10 guys that know how to play.
Yep.
Okay. There's a big difference between being athletic and knowing how to play. And see, the one thing is that they get so hung up on this athleticism. And then what happens, they make mistakes, and the general manager, they never want to admit that they made a mistake. And so they keep these guys hanging around. They could replace them with other players who are better players. They don't do it because they don't want to look bad, and they don't want to lose their jobs. And so they just don't want to admit they made mistakes. I mean, the one thing, it's very simple. I can watch a player play for 10 minutes and tell you whether or not I want to watch him anymore. And then it has nothing to do with basketball, because I'll see what I need to see in 10 minutes. What it's going to show, when I'm then going to do the research on what kind of quality person is it? What does he have inside of him? What kind of heart does he have? That's the thing I'm going to look for and find out. But I'll find out if he can play, not whether he can play or not. Does he have a natural feel for the game? If you don't have a natural feel for the game, I don't want you on my team.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because again, America is rich in having athletes available, but at the same time, fundamentally, and I get this, I always have this argument myself. Yeah, there are a lot of physically gifted athletes that play the game, but there aren't that many mentally gifted athletes that play the game and actually understand the game and what it takes.
Well, that's what I feel badly.
I always get into this conversation.
Yeah, well, they're shortchanged. I mean, the bottom line is that they don't get the right kind of coaching. They just let them run out there and use their athleticism and stuff to outplay people, which they do. And there's a ton of guys in the NBA right now that fit that category and stuff that will go out there and have made it and are making multi-millions of dollars, but they'll never be as good as they should be because they don't know what to do with that talent, because they don't have a fundamental understanding of the game and how it should be played.
Woo. No,
That's all I can say.
But that's a great point. But do you find that that's, and I get what you're saying, because do you find that that has a lot to do with, I guess, the lore of the AAU now, where it's pretty much not as fundamentally sound, or is that?
Oh, I'm
the
not a
lore
big
of
fan
the,
of AB.
the
I
high
try to keep
school?
my youngest
You know
son
what I mean?
away from that. No, no, I'm not saying I'm sure there's some very good coaches that are there doing a really nice job in the AAU, but the AAU is notorious for not teaching the game the right way and just recruiting incredible athletes. They get the rich kids to go ahead and join the team and pay all the money, and then they go and subsidize the other kids who come from distressed areas and what have you, can't afford to do that, and they're the ones that get to play. But then the coaches don't really help them out because they don't have a lot of practices all the time, and they just go out there and they just run up and down the court and use their athleticism, and they don't really teach them how to play the game. I had a kid that I coached in the minor leagues that he was Michael Jordan's size height-wise, but he was bigger and stronger than Michael Jordan. One of the nicest young men I've ever met in my life. He was 26 years old, had a wife and a couple of kids already. And Clifford Ray was my assistant at the time. And we both looked at each other. And I asked him, I said, Clifford, what do you think we could have done with this kid if we had him when he was younger? I mean, I'm talking about this. He would have been a Michael Jordan type of player, but even bigger and stronger. He just didn't know how to play. He didn't know how to use the talent that he had. He's the first one there, wanted to stay longer. Just a great attitude. And I even had to tell him, I said, look, you have so much, so much talent, but you're at your age now, it's too late to be able to do that, to be able to take his talent and utilize it in the right way possible. And I told him, I said, you got to go get a job. I said, I love you. I said, but I can't even play you over some of the other guys because you don't know how to play.
Wow. Hey, Rick, we got to ask you this. We got about 5 minutes left, about 6 minutes left. But what was one of the greatest moments of your playing career? Like, I know there's many, but there's many. There might be and there might not be. But what was one really standout moment for you?
Winning the championship. That's why you play. You don't play for individual honors.
That's
it's all
right.
about winning the championship.
Yeah.
So I mean, being on the championship team was the greatest thing. I mean, my greatest thing in basketball was sitting in the stands watching my son Scooter, play on the national championship team and hit what turned out to be the winning free throw against Oklahoma in Kansas City. So, I mean, I get more enjoyment out of watching my boys do things than I ever did myself. But no, winning the championship was what it was all about, and that was something that I cherish. I have a Hall of Fame ring. I have a top 50 ring. I have an NBA championship ring. The only ring I wear is my NBA championship ring.
Hey, Rick, I want to ask you a question. I want to clear something up that Butch Beard and I have had this discussion more than once. The night you guys were playing in the finals in '75, and Butch had a couple free throws, I think, that would have sealed the game, and he missed the first one. What'd you say to him?
I think I was down the other end of the court. I remember he was, I don't think I was near him, so I didn't have a chance to say. Obviously, I probably wasn't very happy.
No, you weren't. I saw the video. I saw the tape, and it looked like you were kind of walking toward him, saying, "Like, what the hell? Come on, man! You gotta make."
Well, I'm sure I probably tried to encourage him, say, "Knock this."
He made the second one. Sealed the game.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
We love Clifford Ray on this show.
Clifford's the best. Clifford was. I tell people and everything. The most important person on our championship team was not me. It was Clifford Ray.
Yeah, we love him on this show, man. Wow. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. Hey, man. Well, look, Rick, we want to tell you, man. As you know, we thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show and loved watching your career and, man,
yes,
and having 5 sons playing ball, man. That stuff that is so great, So we want to just really thank you.
One of my boys played in Australia. My son Scooter played in Australia for a little bit.
Oh, see, there you go. That's great.
Yeah, that's right. Come over here for a little bit. Yeah, that's right.
But
my son Canyon would probably love to do it because he loves to surf.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Well,
but
there's really opportunities here. I can tell you that much. There's definitely opportunities here.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's a great place. I love Australia, and I wish you guys all the best. And I wish you and your listeners, good health, and hopefully we'll get back to some semblance of normalcy here with the craziness and the insanity that's going on in our world. And fortunately, you guys don't have the total insanity that we have going on in the United States. So God bless you and Australia for that.
Yep. Hey, Rick, Brian, looks like I got another person I got to put on the plane now to get over here. So we got
to charter a plane, Rick, to come to Australia.
Yeah, well, all I need to do is I just need to have I have to be able to have places to play pickleball. I know they love tennis down there, but I'm a pickleball enthusiast right now. I love pickleball. And also I need to be able to go do some fly fishing. I don't want to go out in the ocean.
We can hook you up. We can hook you up.
Yeah, well, if you got something going on and you had a chance to, to be able to do something and, do a clinic or whatever and everything, you've got my number. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah,
I got you.
Let me know.
We will. We will.
I'd love to have you down for a clinic, man.
Yep.
I'd love to have you.
Well, what you should do is you should bring Clifford Ray and me down there, and we'll show them actually how to run a pick and roll play.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Look,
Clifford will go out in the deep. He'll go out in the ocean because he'll fish anywhere. If he could fish every day, that's what he would do.
Yeah, I've got some photos of him fishing stuff. But yeah, he's cool.
Hey,
look,
we do that. We got to bring Butch.
I know. Don't worry. We got the whole plane, Rick. I know. I'm working on it. All right. Look, Rick Barry, we gonna have to say thank you,
I'm
man.
sorry. I never asked for first class or anything. To forget that. But I'm never going to Australia and coach. It's got to be business. I'm sorry. I'm not flying.
Oh, okay.
I'm not flying and coach to Australia. I've been on that flight.
Come on. We know. Everybody. I'm 6'1". Everybody we had on the show is taller than me, so I know I gotta step it up.
All the best, guys. Keep up the good work. And,
all right, Rick.
With the game of basketball. So it's a great game. It's been wonderful to my family. Thank you so much.
And thank you,
Rick. This is Rick. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure, guys.
And we will be in touch for sure. Like no BS, and we're gonna keep in touch. We're gonna make something happen here. I just don't know how much money I'm going to come out with this plane with all you superstars on it, but we'll make it happen.
Hey, the airline's got a lot of empty seats right now, so maybe they'd like to do it.
Yeah, maybe they do it.
Yeah, have them be a sponsor so they get some publicity. There you
go.
No
middle seats.
No middle seats.
No coach seats.
All right, guys.
Bye. See you.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for being on ABA 101, Rick. And hey, until we do it again, guys, have a good week.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Appreciate it, guys.
Peace. The best way to keep up with everything happening around here at ABA 101 is to join our monthly newsletter. Just for joining, we give you $230 worth of free gifts from our sponsors once you confirm your email address. You can unsubscribe at any time, but why would you? Just go to our website, www.aba101.club, scroll to the bottom of the page, and subscribe. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Remember, you can keep up with every episode by subscribing via our website. Follow us on social media and tell your friends about us. Next week, new guests, more basketball tips, more basketball stories about the game we all love. Till then, be safe and keep your eyes on the ball.